All right, and we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Quill and Sword. This is a dark fantasy TTRPG game. And we have some wonderful players who are all creative types. We love Syrinscape around here. That's what we use for our sound effects and whatnot. And, yeah. I am going to roll my handy dandy D5, which is a D10 divided by 2. And whoever it lands on is going to be the person that's going to give us a recap of last session, introduce themselves, their character, any sort of creative things they want to introduce, all the good biz. Marissa!
Yay! So, hey everybody, I'm Marissa. I am a writer and tarot reader. I play Nimini Batch. So where we left off, or where we started last week, we were attending the Jubilee, the Queen's Jubilee, for the second time, only this time like for realsies. And we got the opportunity to go to basically like a bathhouse, a very, very fancy bathhouse situation, to do some business, kind of in the raw, so to speak. And Nim did not like it at all and just had a panic attack the whole time in her very 1920s bathing costume. So from there, I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Vera.
Hey folks, I am Vera, also go by Nathaniel, depending on what of my creative works you are looking at. I am a YouTuber, I am an author, and I am a spicy accountant. And I play Wisp, and so Wisp had a bad time in the last session. Wisp has been a little bit paranoid with everything that's been going on lately, and in an effort to ensure that their stuff wasn't messed with or stolen, they had set up a Lehman's tiny hut in the dressing room to put their stuff in. And then when they were getting ready to go into the pool, they just passed out like hard immediately and were completely disconnected from magic, like at all, any of it. So came to, thanks to some assistance from a few people, including Tempest, though Wisp did not thank her for that and probably won't for a bit. But with that in mind, I suppose I will pass it on to Megan.
Hey everybody, I am Megan Alnico. I'm an author and podcaster, and I play Tempest. And Tempest attempted to save Wisp, teleported over to try to grab her before she fell into the water, but in fact they fell into the water, and still used her power to push away poison, dark magic, which of course involved actually touching Wisp, which Wisp did not like. We had this little thing where Wisp runs off into a closet, into a pantry, and wouldn't talk to Tempest at all. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to SENITA.
Sorry, 1 second.
You know, all our technical
Sorry.
difficulties.
Okay.
Not even. It dropped some stuff. Oh God. Now technical difficulties.
That's valid. I mean, it's not like I'm not the one that's struggling with it every single week.
Okay. While all the magic things was going on, I believe I was trying to listen to people's conversations, and was I the one that found out there was another situation going on that I cannot for the life of me remember?
We're so good at recaps.
Yes. I'm pretty sure I found out some information and then went to go tell Wisp, and Who didn't go yet? Am I the last person to
No,
No, Robin hasn't.
Robin.
I still exist. I'm still here.
go?
Yeah. The masquerade copies are just all over the place watching everybody, and it's real creepy, so we're gonna find out what's up with that. Hi, I'm Robin, also write things, you know.
Oh yeah, I didn't introduce myself. Oh,
Yeah.
my bad.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I don't. I'm SENITA. I'm a writer and a streamer on Twitch, and I'm very tired.
That's valid.
Mood.
Yeah.
But yeah, playing Senta right now, the dwarf.
Senta is from another campaign that we did with Nerdarchy, with Ashes of Ardor in the same setting. So I'm interested to see how she plays in all this. Personally, that's just my comment on the matter. So with that, we will cut over to our intro. We are back. Okay, so to set the scene just a touch, last time we left off with a certain dwarven rogue sneaking into the queen's chambers. Or was it Angelique? It was Angelique's chambers.
It was Angelique.
Angelique's chambers, and finding something rather interesting. Do you remember what that was, Robin, or do you want me to refresh your memory?
I remember that there were a lot of notes and some fairly incriminating things. I do not specifically remember what those incriminating things entailed.
Mm-hmm. So, you absolutely found papers explaining that she had sent Masquerade on a very specific mission, to go and find a giant chunk of this black stone that was used as the primary catalyst and reagent for the thing that stole Wisp's magic remotely. And it seems that Masquerade has been assigned to a team of some sort that is specifically doing this task. For whatever reason, it was left to not the rest of you guys. Not sure why, but you did find some writings that says everything must die.
Yeah, probably best to bring that back to the rest of the party.
Okay, I would like you to make one more investigation check for me to see if you can find anything else in this secret compartment.
Cool.
Because I think I held off on you doing that so that we could see what else happens.
Oh no. I have dropped things. That was a mistake.
That's valid.
It's an ongoing
Fine.
theme for the night.
21.
21. Okay. So you do find, in fact, a deck. A deck of cards.
Oh no. Steven.
This deck of cards has silhouettes. And some of the silhouettes you don't recognize.
Okay.
But some of them look familiar, look like the individuals you've just encountered.
Okay.
And they have different names assigned to them.
Yeah, I'm gonna leaf through those.
Okay. So you
This is not what I thought this was going to be when you said there was a deck of cards. You scared me
No.
much more than I probably
No.
should have been.
Or maybe less, depending.
Oh dear.
I mean, a deck could be many things.
Yes, it could be many things. It could contain many things as well. This deck,
Son of a bitch. I already figured out part of where you're going with this.
this deck has a silhouette that looks similar to Tempest, actually. Their full body silhouette, and is labeled the Hierophant. Another looks like Nim and is labeled the Magician. One that looks like Anu is labeled the Fool, and there's one that looks like these masquerade characters that have been running around, and it says the Hanged. You see other silhouettes, other labels, but none that immediately catch your eye like these do.
But she didn't put the jester on the fool card.
Nope.
Mask is offended and isn't even here to know that they're offended. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna take some mental snapshots and head on out.
Okay. All right. So you head out. The rest of you, meanwhile, have been in the courtyard. The pale silver crescent moon overhead. It's cloudy, so cloudy that the stars are starting to be hidden. It smells like rain, but hasn't properly rained as such. There's a chill on the air. What are the rest of you doing in this courtyard?
Didn't we originally walk out there to be kind of out of range of anything in the castle?
Yes.
Okay.
To be out of earshot and eyeshot of the masquerades, specifically.
So Nim is just following because Nim is unsure of what's going on.
Okay.
Tempest is rubbing her nose like this. Just yeah.
So,
Wisp is pacing. Wisp is agitated and pacing.
Okay.
I'm listening for ears.
Listening. Okay, give me a perception roll.
Oh, we're back to being slow on D&D Beyond. That's fine. Oh, this is painful.
I'd offer to roll for you, but that would not be good luck for you. Definitely would be
26.
counterproductive.
26 anew. You see one of the masquerades on top of the palace roof, staring your direction. And you see that they're kneeling in such a way that, like, they have these two fingers pressed on the edge of the building. And just with your subtle sense of magic, you catch this glimmer. It's faint. It's almost like a fishing line going from their two fingers down into your midst.
This. Does anyone else know ASL as a language?
Nope.
Some people do in the world.
I wonder if a masquerade can speak Elvish. All right, well, I think I'm just gonna tilt my head to the side and point one finger at my lips and say shh, and then one at my ear.
Okay. How do the rest of you react to that?
I'm actually gonna say, unless you have me roll a perception, I do not notice right now.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't notice unless she makes a point of pointing it out.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Nim just nods like, sure, I'll be quiet.
Tempest is looking around and happens to, as she's rubbing her forehead, sees out of the corner of her eye and then just looks at Anu, raises some eyebrows.
Right. You know, sometimes there's a reason for paranoia.
Tempest starts looking around.
Okay. Give me a perception roll.
This is gonna be bad. Let's see. Perception. Well, I rolled a 3.
3.
Yeah, which means it's probably a 2.
Yeah, you don't see. You don't actually see the masquerade on top of the building.
Nope.
Right around now, SENITA comes back though.
Cool. So, I'm just gonna, like, share the documents that I found. I'm just going to, like, ask them about. I'm not, like, announcing my presence. So just gonna hand them to Anu.
Okay. Would I know anything about, because I know it's the documents and then it's the tarot cards. Would I know anything else about them, or?
With your high investigation, you could probably surmise that this rock that's mentioned is probably the same one that was used in this thing that took Wisp's magic away.
Okay. Now, the masquerade guard, are they just generally human?
As far as you can tell.
I mean, as far as we could tell, so was Masquerade. So...
All right.
Are you passing those documents around, or?
Oh yeah. I am passing them around.
Oh, there we go.
Right.
Sorry.
So, Stephen,
Mm-hmm.
based off what I've already been through, and with the descriptions in that, would my high marks in either Arcana or History give me a shot at putting any more pieces together?
I would say that Arcana would be the one that would help you there, and yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so roll
can-
on that then.
No, I think you could just have it because you have a pretty high Arcana.
I have plus 10 on
yeah.
that.
Yeah, you can figure it out pretty well, pretty easily, for all the disturbing that it is.
So is there any additional information that background would give me beyond what's already kind of been shared?
You can roll for that.
That's kind of what I was after.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's a nat 20.
Okay. So not only do you know that this specific rock is not a good thing in any sense and can absolutely be used to create anti-magic fields, this is a planar mineral. It doesn't exist naturally on this plane. It is something that is usually only found in the wild.
All right. I will share that information with the group.
Stephen, has Tempest run into this before in her travels throughout the wild?
Absolutely. This specific rock, if given the proper runes, has the same general effect of being able to create anti-magic zones. Sometimes they are localized to an area. Sometimes they can be put on an object or even on a person. And in some cases, very skilled enchanters and artificers can remotely tap into sort of attaching an anti-magic field to someone else via a spell they've cast.
I immediately check my own magic to make sure it's there.
Yeah, your magic's there.
Good. I relay that information to everyone else.
And Wisp, you have all that information as well. It's pretty uncommon information, but you do have it. Like, you're a bard, you know this. And on top of that, you also are aware that there is said to be a codex, an anti-magic codex called the Dire Pages that contains runes that are explicitly used for this mineral.
It looks like someone's trying to kill magic.
Well, selectively, if not on a grand scale. Stephen, question. From what I know of this rock, so at this point, I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, at this point, I'm assuming like the bit that I saw would have theoretically have to have been like chipped off this thing or something like that.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It would have had to have been chipped off of a bigger gemstone of Ebonshade.
Okay. Does the anti-magic field get bigger with a bigger sample of the stone?
Yes.
Shit.
In fact, you got such a good roll on your Arcana check, you can gather that the size of this rock as it's laid out in these pages would be enough to, and more than enough, to literally rid the entire plane of magic if the person wanted to.
Okay, I'll relay that as well. So we now find ourselves in a situation where, if we are lucky, someone is just trying to have their own little pocket way to create anti-magic zones. And if we're very, very unlucky, which given our track record, I'm inclined to just assume is the case, everything is about to fall apart.
There are other planes without magic. I've been there. I've been to a few. They are not fun.
How did you get there?
Magic goes in but doesn't come out.
How did you get out again?
I know. It was very difficult.
That's not an answer.
Do we really have time? Ask me later.
I'm just giving you a look.
So, Stephen, in the pages, it was saying that Masquerade was sent after this thing, yes?
Yes.
Any indication of where or just that they were sent?
Yes, there is a map.
And like,
It
how far away are we talking?
it is actually on another continent.
What continent?
It is, hold on, I need to pull up my map for this because it's been forever since I've had to pull up this map of my world. Isn't that great? It is where there aren't a lot of governments. And it's like a frontier. The Ardent Frontier is what it's called.
Frontier. I've pulled up the map. What corner is that?
It's,
like general area.
On the left side, it's the landmass between the one that contains Vorway and Elridia, and down on southern Ord. It's right in the middle. It's that line right there. Has a lot of water on it.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm sorry to have to be the one to tell you this, but it sounds like your friend's gone rogue, and it sounds like we're gonna have to go and track them down.
I don't know if they know the full extent of what this would do, but I do agree we need to find them, and we need to find them fast.
Well, based on where Mask went, do we know why this is happening, or maybe who's in charge? Do we have any? Not that it's necessary, but we're still going. But I don't know, would that help us to know?
I'm gonna turn to Senta and go, "You found these where?"
Oh, under a loose floorboard in Angelique's room.
Then I would say Angelique would be the most immediate person to speak with.
I think that's fair. She's gonna figure out I was in there before too long anyway.
We should go speak with her and be ready to leave.
Yeah.
All right, well, you know her better than I do. I'll go ahead and flag us a ship and meet you.
All right.
Fight your way out if you have to. And I'm just gonna head off down to the docks.
Okay.
Probably have to.
Usually have to.
So, Senta,
Hmm?
you do in fact get a couple whispers real quick, because there is a thing that you have. I need to find where you're at. Okay. I always forget you have weird as the first part of your name. Okay, there we go. All right, there. You have whispers on the chat now, Robin. As for the rest of you,
Oh,
you
cool.
go to confront. You go to confront Angelique. And who's going to be the sort of head spokesperson, what have you? It seems that the party's starting to die down now. Guests are starting to leave. People are retiring to their different areas. Apparently, the Jubilee was a success.
Unless somebody tries to stop me, I'm forcibly taking point.
Okay.
And I will be right behind Wisp to smooth out any rough edges.
Okay. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? So you go through the main ballroom, and Angelique is not there. The queen is also not present here.
Are there any of the non-mask clone servants in the immediate vicinity?
No, all of the servants you see are masquerade clones.
God damn it. All right, I will go up to one of them and just ask, did the queen in the air retire for the evening? I would hate to have missed them.
And this one, who seems to be more feminine presenting, nods, but is otherwise silent.
All right. So, Stephen, based off, and I'll roll history if you want me to for this, but based off the time we've spent in granted a slightly more destroyed version of this castle. I'm assuming it was largely rebuilt the same as it was before.
Mhm.
Based off the knowledge that we've got, do I know a likely place that they might have gone that isn't their own private quarters? Because I don't think they would have retired completely for the night yet, but is there like, oh, and here's the Royal Lounge or whatever?
There is in fact such a place. There is a library, a study.
That sounds great.
Okay. So, go ahead and make you can choose survival, insight, or if you have keen mind or possibly a background that would help you, you can just go to find your way.
I'm gonna roll survival because by default it's the only one that isn't terrible.
Okay.
That's a 9.
A 9. So you have a little difficulty finding the library specifically.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Are we all going together? How are we splitting up here?
Well, I'm going. Nim said that she was following me. Anu and Tempest haven't really said what they're doing.
Okay, I will follow. I'm sorry.
Okay. So anyone who wants to can try to assist Wisp, but otherwise you're going to get a random encounter instead.
It's a survival check.
Yep.
Oh, wait a bit. I don't want to roll then. Random encounter sounds great
15?
to me.
15. You guys do find the library, and flanking either side of the door are 2 more of these masquerades.
Flanking the door or blocking the door?
Flanking.
Okay, I'm going in.
Okay. Yeah, they don't react to you going in. You're one of the heroes. Like,
great. Excellent.
You walk
I don't mind flanking. I can work with flanking.
And you see in this room, you know what? We're going to go with a happenstance die here. SENITA, roll a d20. Tell me what you get.
$15.
That is exactly the number you needed to find Angelique by herself.
Okay.
So
all right.
You find Angelique sitting there. She seems to have already taken off the very elaborate dress for a much more comfortable looking dress. Basic long sleeves, still in green themed for the night, but it's made of velvet. It's very simple. And she's just almost like curled up with her feet propped on this very large cushioned chair in front of the fireplace, and she's reading a book.
What's the book?
Make a perception roll.
11.
11. It is a trashy romance novel.
Aw.
Get
Damn it,
girl.
why she got to be endearing right now? I'm mad. Okay. I'm going to approach.
Okay.
I'm going to say, I'm very sorry to interrupt your time outside of the Jubilee, but I really need to know where you sent Mask and for what.
Oh. And she closes the book very slowly, as though it's intentional, trying to gather her words. And she sets the book off to a side table and sort of plants her bare feet on the carpet and sits up more straight and gestures for you and Nim and anyone else who wants to take one of the many seats that surround this large hearth.
Yeah, I'm not taking a seat.
Nim does.
Okay.
Adjusts her skirt nicely and smiles.
And she will look at you and says, I did not want to endanger the rest of you. And I knew that Masquerade could handle it. But you need to understand that in the years that you've been gone, the blight of undeath has grown very severe. And we may have found a way to end it.
Do you realize what that way is going to cost everyone?
I realize that any solution is going to have a hefty toll.
That's not really an answer. Do you understand what it is that you are going to do?
I do.
That almost makes it worse.
What do you think I'm going to do?
I just toss the documents down on the table next to her and go, I think I don't really want to dance right now.
Then you should know that this entire world is bound to a cycle. Death, pain, misery, woe, repeat. Constantly. The elves relive their generational traumas nightly. Those of us blessed with the gift of forgetfulness do not remember who we once were. But because we still cycle, that is what feeds the three great evils and allows them to turn us into monsters against our own. Parents eating their own children after being corrupted. Do you not see the misery that our entire world is trapped within?
You don't get to rewrite everyone else's story. You do not get to do that.
Well, then it's a good thing I'm not the one doing it.
I really, really need you to just talk straight.
The Mother Raven, the Queen of Ravens, has offered us an alternative. Our world is bound to rebirth. Through the phoenixes and the evils alike, good, evil, all of it bound to a cycle. Bound to continue to suffer. Never any peace. But she came and offered something no one else has or could. She has offered the option of death, of peace, of quiet, of a final rest when everything is done. When you are done with your life, you can rest.
There is no rest. The Raven Queen consumes, but you will not cease. She will eat your memories one by one and pick them apart. Everyone here that you give to her shall be tortured for millennium until she has wreaked whatever it is she wants from your soul. This is a bad deal.
Is it that much worse than the curse of memory?
Angelique, I acknowledge that I don't know what happened in the time that we were gone. And even if you were to tell me, I can't know. I wasn't here. I accept that. I accept that you want to be done. I accept that. But I do not and will never accept you or anyone ever deciding who else is going to be done, who else does not get to take what else is in that cycle. Because for all the pain, there is hope. and there is joy, and there is companionship. And sometimes is it lessen the pain? Yes, but you do not get to decide for everyone else what that balance amounts to. You do not get to decide what weighs more. They do. And the fact that you seek to take that choice from them disgusts me.
Who makes that decision then, dear Wisp? Who does it? Because the Queen of Death, has offered us something. She, by right of her rulership, should get to decide, yes? But
no,
she has offered the
no,
choice.
She has literally offered you nothing. She is offering you non-existence. And you are not going to accept that on behalf of everyone else on this plane. Wisp is going to spin on a hoof and storm out.
And she'll look at Nim and meet her eyes. You don't know the pain of thinking you've already lost everything.
That's
Or-
bullshit. That's unacceptable. Some of us here have had our souls turned inside out by that very Raven Queen. She consumed part of my soul, and I felt it every day for hundreds of years. And I'm here to tell you that there is nothing that she will trade you that is worth that. Certainly wasn't for me. I follow Wisp.
Okay. And she looks pleading to Nim. Just
Angelique, it looks like we have conflicting viewpoints here. So what do you know about this Raven Queen? How did you meet the Raven Queen, and was there anything about that meeting that gave you pause?
the Raven Queen is Queen Chanel.
But was the Raven Queen always Queen Chanel?
The Raven Queen came to Queen Chanel when she was supposed to die as a baby.
Oh dear.
She came inside her, and they have always been one.
Does
You know her. I know her. She wants what is best for the world. And after time and again hearing your stories of the horrors, she had tuned out the Raven Queen's promises because she could not believe it. But as you, her champions, came back time and again with messages of the pain, the suffering, the undeath was bringing, the evils were committing, she started to listen and hear it. And she's not wrong. We'll be saving everyone.
what does Mask know about where you sent them and why you sent them?
Masquerade knows what I have taught them. And that I genuinely believe that this would be right. And I will confess, I formed a separate team for them that was originally intended to have that dwarf with you as its other member. They were going to pursue this, and Masquerade returned, and I thought that perhaps Masquerade would be a better fit for that group, and I knew that if I left Masquerade with all of you, you would poison them against me. And I couldn't bear the thought of losing them again.
I understand. I just, and I know that you believe what you're doing is correct. I think Masquerade might be in danger, though, if you didn't give Masquerade all the information that we have.
I gave Masquerade the same writings you have found.
Did Mask have any questions?
Of course there were questions. There are always questions, and I answered them as best I could. And I frankly asked them, please, just this once, just do this one thing. Just find the one thing. That's all I need. Just find it for me.
Do you trust the rest of Mask's team?
I don't know, because I thought you lost them. I thought all of you were lost. And that hurt. And don't get me wrong, I am grateful that all of you are here. I'm grateful you have new friends. But also, I thought you lost them. I thought I lost them. I could not bear it. I cannot live in a world knowing that Mask would suffer. And I cannot live in a world knowing that Mask would not be here. I am not in love with Masquerade, but we are one and the same. We are closer than siblings. Masquerade was my protector, my only friend, for my whole life. Masquerade convinced me to come here. If it weren't for Masquerade, I would never have become the heir. Everything in my life that is good, I owe to them. They are the best person I've ever met in my life. And seeing the pain that it caused them to see the undeath, the horrors that come with these cosmic evils, I have to do what I can to fight, and I am going to be a leader. And leaders make decisions for others, and that does not make it fun or good, but it makes it how it is.
Are you worried at all that what happens when Mask finds this stone? Will Mask be able to, come back with it, or will Mask be harmed in the process of bringing it back, or made less powerful, or?
No, Masquerade isn't bringing it. Masquerade is finding it. We only know the approximate location. It is somewhere within the deep mines once dug by dwarves.
Okay.
And their abandoned halls that were overrun with the Umber Horde. In their old kingdom.
So what happens when Mask finds it? What's the plan from there?
Well, ideally, Masquerade and the others will clear enough of a path to it that we will be able to go and perform the ritual that's needed. And in the process, kill permanently all of the Umber Horde. And perhaps even Crom himself.
And everyone else?
Everyone else will live, as always, in this world. But when we die, we will die and not be reborn.
Well,
don't you see? It's peace. That's what we are fighting for, is peace.
I see that you believe we're fighting for peace. But I think you know that we won't be here at the castle for much longer. And then Nim stands up to leave.
I know. And she, if you'll let her, will just take your hand gently. I am sorry that our paths must diverge here. But I will not apologize for the path I have chosen. But I know you care for them a great deal too. So take this. And she leaves in your hand what you would recognize. It looks very similar to those sending stones you've found before. This one looks old and worn. It has perhaps a single use left. But it would at least let you talk to them one more time before you find them.
Thank you. And I hope you're absolutely right about everything. I don't think you are, but I hope you are.
I do too. Thank you,
Thank you, Angelique. And Nim leaves.
Nim. Okay. Anu, are you still there, or do you head out?
Yeah, I am going to snatch the book and go. If your decisions is between life and death, and you chose death for other people, you're not a good leader. And then I'm going to walk out.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a either intimidation, persuasion check, whichever you prefer. You have advantage because of all the other things that have been said by your other party members at this point.
You said intimidation or persuasion?
Yep. Either one, whichever one you prefer.
All right, I'm going to do persuasion because that's the better one.
Okay.
Excuse me, Madam. 15.
15. You see that her eyes are glistening with tears, but they are not falling. She has this sort of like determined firmness that even though she cares very much for all of you, she also cares very much about what she's chosen. Meanwhile, Senta, you were going to find a boat.
Yep.
So, you're pretty easily able to procure a vessel that will take you. Go ahead and give me a general persuasion check just to see how good of a deal you get or don't get or what have you.
Persuasion?
Uh-huh. Or deception if you'd rather.
Am I still allowed to conscript people?
Yes, you can.
I mean, I'm not going to conscript a ship captain or anything. I'm just wondering if I'm still allowed to do that.
You are technically allowed to conscript people into the Order of the Jade Lotus.
That's gonna be a 7.
7. Okay, so you find a reluctant captain of a ship. He looks to be very well decorated. He's very skinny and mousy. And he shakes very nervously in the presence of important people. He introduces himself as Luin, and he looks at you and with shaking hands he says, "Aren't you the famous dwarven emissary that they were bringing by?"
Famous. I've clearly been doing something wrong in my job. Yes, I suppose.
Well, they said that you were going to be heading out with that party of heroes that left just before the Jubilee.
Yeah, that's still the plan. Except they already went, and I'm catching up.
Oh, very well. Of course, I'll be happy to take you with my men. It will take us a little bit of time to get ready, but we can absolutely set sail on the morrow, perhaps?
On the morrow is perfect, thank you.
All right.
I'll be bringing friends with me as well. 4?
Okay. 4 friends. That's great. They are friendly, right? They don't.
Oh yes.
They don't fight. Not too rowdy.
They can fight, but they won't start fights. And if you need anything else to prepare for a voyage with 5 extra people, let me know and I'll see it brought to you.
Well, I should be able to just fill out the proper paperwork and get it sent in the morning and get everything taken care of.
Good. And I'm gonna give a nod. And I will go ahead and head off. I almost dropped that line about ladies not starting fights but finishing them. Decided against it because I'm sure not a proper lady.
Okay. So, all of you, do you meet back up in the palace, or do you meet back at the pumpkin carriage?
Oh, I'm beelining it out of that place. I'm not even bothering to check if anyone's following me. It's back to the pumpkin carriage.
Okay.
And honestly, on foot.
Okay.
Like Wisp is too pissed to interact with any person or animal right now,
Okay.
and is just stomping their way back.
Okay. So basically,
Footprints in the dirt.
because Nim and Anu kind of hung back, really the only person that's followed you, it seems, and that is keeping pace with you right now is Tempest.
She doesn't know what she's doing. She doesn't know what she's doing.
It
Raven
doesn't
Queen-
matter if she knows.
Oh, no, it doesn't matter at all. I'm sorry. I don't mean that. I mean, she has no idea the repercussions. This is terrible. She'll take. If your people truly reincarnate, then she'll just continue to devour them through every life they would have. There is no peace here for that. You need to find another god if they want peace.
I don't care about gods. It's just stories. It's all stories. I don't even really care if I get another life, if I get another chance. She does not get to write other people's stories or decide that it's time for them to end.
I agree. What are we going to do about it?
I'm going to find out where Senta's at with getting us a ship. We're going to find Mask. And I don't know from there, but that's what we're doing right now, and that's enough.
I'm with you.
I'm sorry I'm so hostile to you. But that's probably not about to change in the immediate future, but I am sorry. I am sorry that I don't have the strength right now to be open with anyone new. I just can't right now. But I'm sorry, and I would rather you be here than not.
I understand. Thank you. And when you need something of me, just let me know. Other than that, you don't have to talk to me. I'm used to it.
Wisp is going to lapse back into silence unless something happens that would otherwise interrupt the journey back.
Okay.
Nope.
So, I can see if there's going to be something that will.
I knew that was coming! I knew that was coming! There it is!
So midway back,
Ha-ha!
you join with Senta.
Ah, there we go.
We have a ship
When does it leave?
in the morning.
In the morning. Fine, that's probably the only thing that was ever reasonable. It'll have to do.
They're going to need rest. We are going to need rest. We still have to take care of ourselves. Are you okay?
No.
All right. That's all right. So you've got the night to work through that. Because tomorrow we have to be on point.
Yes, I'm sure the night that'll be fine. I'll be absolutely spot on in the morning. Do you have a place to Do you have a place to crash for the night?
Yes.
Good.
Just, you don't have to be spot on in the morning. You just have to be functional enough to get her done.
I can do that.
Good enough. And then I look to Tempest. How about you?
I'm fine. I need very little sleep as it is.
All right. We'll talk tomorrow.
I will fill you in on what we found out in the morning. I think you'd probably benefit from a more restful sleep than you would probably have if I were to tell you now.
Oh, that's quite all right. Tomorrow, we have all the time in the world because we'll be on a boat with nowhere else to go.
There we go.
We can talk about all of this then.
Oh.
And I will withdraw from the conversation and go find my sleeping arrangements.
Okay. All right. And Nim and Anu, are you guys staying together as you leave, or are you going separately?
I was gonna stay. I was gonna follow them.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you guys, do you want to have any conversation between the palace and the pumpkin carriage?
I'm just gonna let him. You're far too nice. I would have slapped her.
Well, I felt maybe we could get a little bit more information. I don't know. I worry that we were gone for too long and Angelique probably needed a friend and didn't have a friend. And you know how it is at the palace. It's like being thrown to the wolves, only the wolves wear very nice clothing. And, well, there's just so much that was put on her shoulders at such a young age, and she just didn't have Mask. And then, I'm sure Mask felt guilty for being gone for so long, so Mask would do anything for Angelique, and it's just, and here we are.
You're too nice.
You're probably right.
And Nim, as Anu says that, a large hand reaches out from an alley and grabs your forearm, and you hear a voice say, "I bet you are too nice then."
I beg your pardon.
Throw my book at his face.
All right. You do see that he has actually he has a dagger drawn. So, let me roll and see how close you guys are to the pumpkin carriage. Oh, you are 1 block away. You are 1 block away from the pumpkin carriage, and it seems as though now at this point it is time for combat. Oh, I picked the wrong music. There we go. Let's try this one.
It sounds like we're gonna fight on a boat.
No, this one. Here we go. So yeah, go ahead and roll initiative for me, and I'll need initiative from everyone else who's in the pumpkin carriage because you will be able to hear this commotion probably.
That was going to be my question.
So
Woo,
I'm
yeah,
not in
20.
the pumpkin carriage. I was heading back to the palace.
Oh, man.
So do I still hear this anyway?
Actually, you will come upon it, so you can see
Okay.
it from across the street.
Cool.
So that's an 8 from me.
21.
All right.
I got a nat 20, which equals 27.
Oh my gosh.
Lord. 6.
12.
All right, and let's see where these bad guys fall into the mix. They got a natural 1 on their initiative. You must have done something right. Throwing that book at them. So, all right. Anu,
Completely
you're
threw
up
them off
first.
their game.
So, Anu, what are you doing?
I'm sorry, wait. Oh. Does the book, do they have helmets on?
They do not have helmets on. They also are wearing only like basic leather armor. It's only like giving them a +1 bonus to AC because they're trying to look like they belong just walking and chilling out in the main streets.
Okay. I threw my book at their face. So
Okay, go ahead and make an attack roll with your strength. And you don't have proficiency because it's an improvised weapon. Unless you're a tavern brawler.
Nope, just a bunch of thieves stuff.
Okay.
Alright. With my strength. 17.
17. Okay, you absolutely hit him. You deal, you can roll a D3 for the book.
Alright, D3. I know I have one. There it is. Wait, that's a 4. Wait,
I was going to say
Roll
D3.
D6 and divide by 2.
Okay.
okay. Wait, what?
Roll D6, divide by 2, round up.
Okay.
So like 1 and 2 is 1, 2 and 3 is, or 3 and 4 is 2, and 5 and 6 is 3.
Okay, 2. I got 2.
All right, so 2 plus 2 for your strength. So he takes 4 damage. All right, as you just whack him upside the face with this book. And you now see there's 3 more bandits in the alley. And Senta, you see this from across the street.
Do I not get a bonus action?
Oh, you do get a bonus action. I'm sorry, you're a rogue.
Rogues full of those.
Yep. What are you doing for your bonus?
Well, they're distracted. I am going to go invisible.
Okay.
Is that a spell slot? Let me see. No,
It
what?
is a spell slot. I think it's an action unless you have a thing that makes it a bonus.
Sneak attack. No, where? Minor illusions. No. I know I have it. I just don't. I'm not seeing it anywhere. Thieves can't make this. Uncanny evasion, magical attack, dark sinking, trance, elf training. I know I have invisibility. I just can't seem to find
I
it.
think it's an action though, because it's on your spells list. So that would have to be your main action instead of hitting him with the book.
Oh, then never mind. All right. Bonus action is. I guess I'll just
You can move. You can disengage. You can.
How far away are the other guys?
They're right there. They're like all within 5 feet of each other.
Okay. I'm gonna tackle one of them. It's like, so hit one in the face with a book, tackle another.
Okay. Okay. Sure. We'll treat that as an offhand attack. Sure.
I'm just imagining a clothesline because that's the way that would work.
All right, 22.
22 will absolutely hit. So
Okay.
roll a we'll say a D3 again. Why not? I don't like that unarmed strikes normally only do 1 damage. That's stupid to me.
Oh, I see what you're doing. I was like, wait, unarmed strike. Yeah, okay. 3.
Okay, so 3 plus 2, 5. This guy is knocked out. They aren't very big.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing, hand to hand.
Yeah, these are
Yes.
commoners. So now
I'm
we have-
offended. They thought they could stop us.
So Senta, there are 3 guys still up, one of whom is bigger than the others.
Right, so my action will be spent opening myself up to their minds so that I can get the
Okay.
ambient intent of what's going on, and what I do next depends on what that intent was.
You immediately catch. They want to mug them. They just want to rob them of.
Okay, so they're here
what
for
they have.
coin, they're not doing anything more nefarious.
Right? No, they.
Okay,
they
good.
They want their coins. They want their weapons. They want anything of value that they can get off of them.
Not my cinnamon roll
Okay, then I feel
box.
good
They're
about
dressed-
going non-lethal, so,
Yeah, they're dressed real nice. They think they're nobles.
I have used my action to activate Cruel Intent, so I will use my bonus action to grant advantage on an attack to an ally. So I will open that psychic link up to Nim so that she can see her opening and will have advantage when she goes to hit something.
Okay. So Nim, you feel this presence seeking permission in the back of your mind, and you get this general ambience. It seems like Senta somehow.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh yeah, if you don't say yes, that won't happen.
And we're at Tempest. Tempest, you just, we'll say you happen to be glancing out a window and you see this unfurling at the end of the street.
Yeah, how far away is it?
It's like maybe 30 feet. It's not far.
It's not far. Can
Yeah.
I dodge out the door with my move?
Sure.
Cool. I will dodge out the door with my move, and then I will summon a hammer.
Okay.
Black, nasty hammer, just like my sword, right? And
Uh-huh.
I huck it at the attackers.
Okay.
So that's and what's gonna happen is it's gonna fly at one of them, and it might hit that one, and it's gonna fly the second one, and then at the third one. It's gonna try hit all 3.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna have 3 attack rolls here. The first attack roll is 15.
Okay, that hits.
Okay, the second one is let's see, 23, and the third one is 9.
9 does not hit. So
Okay.
You guys watch as, just dodging out the pumpkin carriage, which is only about 30 feet off, Tempest comes out, summons from shadow and smoke this hammer, and just hucks it. And it smacks the first guy upside the head. He has 1 hit point, by the way, so you get him.
Okay.
And then the next, and it bounces to the next guy, and it hits him. Go ahead and roll your d3 for this one.
This is actually a d10 plus 6.
Oh lord.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Where's my d10? There you are. That's 6 plus 6 is 12.
Okay, so are you trying to pull your punch to not kill this guy?
Sure. We won't. We don't have to kill him.
Okay, so it smacks the other guy, and it smacks him so hard, he's knocked out. So the big guy is now knocked out, and it misses the other guy. The other guy
And then
literally-
comes back to my hand.
Oh, and it comes back. So then it, whew, after he dodges, it comes back to your hand, and you see the other man, the man who is left unharmed, and Anu and Nim, you just hear like piddling droplets on the ground, and he starts trying to book it the other way, but he doesn't have time quite yet, because next up is Wisp. Wisp, you also you saw you saw Tempest duck out the doorway, and you saw some sort of conflict with your friends going on just outside the door.
Mm-hmm. So you said 30 feet?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, nuts. All right. In that case, sorry, let me just check one thing here. I'm just gonna go for him, and as an unarmed strike, I'm gonna try and sweep the legs.
Okay. Are you headbutting the legs?
No, because he's not close enough for me to do a charge. I can only do a charge at half my movement, which
That's
doesn't
right,
get me
that's
there.
Right. Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have. Believe me.
Okay.
Wisp would love to vent right now, but unfortunately, I can't close that distance as a charge.
Okay. So, now you know your movement, you get your movement, and then the charge is an action separate from that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that how that works?
Yeah.
Oh, I've been doing it wrong
You
the
get
whole time. Okay,
extra
then.
movement with the charge.
Oh, okay. Then in that case, yeah. Actually, Wisp is going to charge. Has he already turned to try and go, or is that what he's up to?
He has just whirled on his heel.
Okay, square in the back.
Okay. So go ahead and make your attack roll. It's not a
All
hard
right.
roll.
Let's see. 23.
23. Yeah, just describe what happens to him.
Wisp charges full bore and like hard hit, gets him square in the back, and the horns would be such that they kind of lock in at the small of his back and then yank my head so that to just send him into the nearest wall.
Okay, yeah, he absolutely just crack into the side of the wall and slumps into a heap. These bandits are already dealt with, it seems, as Nim, your turn comes up.
And Nim shouts, "You're lucky they hit you because you had no idea what I was gonna do to you."
That is wonderful. So, yeah, you guys managed to all make it safely back to the pumpkin carriage.
I am going to go. I'm going to say I'm going back to the bar because that's where I already was when the commotion started.
In fact, you walk in and Jacquard looks at you from behind the bar. Is everything all right?
It is now.
Very, very well. Another round?
Please.
And he pours you a tall stein with a hat. So, and then he also slides you a chocolate chunk cookie. He says, on the house. Your little friend made them. And he gestures to the this big armchair that's upholstered in fur and has horns on it. It's very Gaston. And just curled up in that chair is a little Giselle covered in flour. She insisted that all of you get one of these. And as the rest of you come in, he says, well, speak of the devils and they will appear. There is a round of baked goods for anyone interested. Baked by your very own little fire flower right there.
I am very interested. And Nim sits down at the bar.
And
Tempest. Tempest sits down but watches Wisp intensely because every time Wisp has tried to take a drink of alcohol, something terrible has happened.
He gives all of you a round. He sees Senta. Well, you're new.
Well, I was going to head back to the palace for the night, but I think after what just happened, it might be best to stay with the rest of the party. Senta.
Very nice to meet you, Jacquard. The little baker over there is Giselle. Where is the jester among your group?
Oh, we'll be going to fetch them tomorrow.
They kind of got a head start on us. We're catching up in the morning.
Oh, all right. Well, I suppose I will wrap this one up for you to deliver to them. Then, and he will wrap the cookie up in a napkin and offer it to whoever will take it.
And puts it in her pocket.
And then he will pull to the side, just slides over this plate that you see has like 4 cookies on it, and he looks at Senta, looks at the cookies longingly like they were his, and then hands one over to you. They are quite
Oh, it's
good.
all right. I believe you. They look very good, but I can't eat just before I go to sleep or I end up having indigestion.
Oh, that's terrible.
I'm gonna make a deceit check.
Okay, all right.
I just don't want to take his cookie.
Oh no, he rolled a natural 20 on insight.
I rolled a natural 20 on deception.
Okay, so he has a +6 to his insight.
Oh, I have a +0 to my deception. My charisma is 10.
Okay, he's an innkeeper. He's a barkeeper. He has to be insightful if nothing else.
That's fair. He knows, but he knows it was a good lie.
Oh yes, he kind of smirks, and he says, "You know, I think that I will be too full for all of these." And he just sets the cookie down in front of you anyway. After all, I really don't need it. Then he pats his portly belly.
I smile like I know he knows, and like I'm impressed that he knows, and I take the cookie.
That being said, he looks sort of first to Nim and then everyone else. She said she figured you were probably heading out in the morning.
You can't.
I take it that's a habit.
Well, we try and have it not be, but you can't get one over on her.
Just, if it's not too much trouble, maybe have breakfast and say goodbye. She loves all of you very much. She talked non-stop about you and your escapades the entire 2 years you were gone. Every child she met, everyone who would listen to her, she sang your praises. That little girl
And that's a pretty
loves you.
solid thing to fight for.
Yes, it is. We won't leave without saying goodbye. And having breakfast.
Good.
Most important meal of the day, after all.
You know, that's good because tomorrow was bacon, ham, and sausage day.
Ooh.
I'm glad I stayed.
All of the meats. But at any rate, I will not bother you or keep you. Feel free to come and go as you please. Obviously, the bar is open until midnight. And from there, if you want to drink, I don't care too much if you come behind the counter. Just don't let the other patrons see.
Before he has a chance to like walk away and tend somebody else, I am going to put a hand on his and just go, thank you.
Thank you. I owe all of you my life many times over. And I don't just mean for the times you've saved me from danger. And he looks over to Giselle. That little girl is something special, and having her in my care is just as special to me as when I got to raise my own daughter. And he looks over to the bard that's still half slumped drunk, as always, in the corner. I wish my wife were here to meet this one, though. She would have loved her.
I'm sure she would have. And I just need you to know that tonight, after the day that we've had, what you offer in this place with her and your affection and everything you just said, I really needed that.
Good.
And I know I already said thank you. And you spread this around and you'll find a hoof print on your butt, but you've saved my life too. And don't think I didn't notice.
He just nods, doesn't say anything.
Wisp will sort of little cheers motion with the stein, finish about half of it, and then head up to a room with their cookie.
Okay. And I'm just gonna roll real quick. Oh, those cookies are terrible. They're awful.
Don't care. It's so don't care.
She mistook the sugar and salt for one another.
I was about to call that.
So you go to bed. Do you do anything else before bed, Wisp?
I mean, Wisp is going to bed in the sense of going to their room. Door is not closed tight, but not going to sleep right away.
Okay.
Gonna fiddle with the loot.
Okay.
And just like pluck out some stuff, make sure it's tuned, and I'm distracting myself. I'm trying very hard to just not think about a lot.
Okay. What about Nim?
Nim is going to go ahead and go upstairs to get out of this fancy dress that has been nothing but trouble and slightly uncomfortable all night. So she goes upstairs and goes into a room and avoids the bathtub like the plague.
Okay. That's valid given the situations you've had there in that room. What about Senta?
Senta is early to bed and early to rise because we're on the job.
Okay, makes sense. So you get a room from Jacquard. It's a private room. It's got a bath that is warm. It's got everything pretty much you could expect from a slightly upscale sort of place. Anu, you and Tempest both trance, so what are you guys doing? Starting with you, Anu.
think I just want to have a staring contest with Tempest right now.
Oh, you're having a staring contest. Okay.
See who trances first.
Are you participating in this?
Tempest just looks at Anu and says, how much rest do you need? Because one of us should sleep first and the other, well, one of us should rest first and then the other, so that there's someone around in case something happens.
Well, I could pull myself out of the trance if need be. What about you?
Is that what you call it, a trance?
Yes.
I guess 4 hours of rest and meditation. It's just the way things have gone. I would hate for someone to surprise us again.
Good luck surprising me.
Well, then you should stay up first, and I will go meditate.
Oh, you have fun.
All right. So Anu is going to stay up first. Let's see if anything happens. So Anu, you stay up. The bar dies down. Everybody slowly goes to their rooms, except for a couple stragglers that seem really engaged in a philosophical debate in the corner, but they are otherwise uninterested with you. And about 3 a.m., Giselle wakes up and starts like dragging herself to her room. Covered in flour, half asleep. She plods up the stairs. At one point you think she's fallen asleep on the stairs just standing there, but then she gets to her room. And otherwise everything happens uneventfully on your watch. So Tempest then
And I will get into my armor. Tempest will get into her armor because she has not been able to wear her armor this entire time, and she's not going to be surprised again. So she's got her half plate on.
Okay, Tempest, you trance, and as you close your eyes, it's strange. You don't feel her here.
Oh.
This is the first you've tranced in this domain, and it seems that whatever this cosmic power that causes cycles that Angelique talked about is, it locks the Raven Queen out of her sort of omnipresent and mental status of being able to just touch you.
I pull the sword out and I put it on the bed and I just leave it there and I try to trance some more. Am I more at ease, less at ease?
It's almost like here, that power you wield is yours. It doesn't belong to someone else here, because that someone else has been disallowed. Like, you felt her presence very strongly when you were in the Queen's presence, but otherwise, it's almost like here she's bound to a physical form. And she might be able to jump with magic and whatnot, but she's not everywhere here.
Tempest, some tears start rolling down because it's the first real peace she's found in hundreds of years. I think, yeah, hundreds of years. It's the first time she's been out without this presence in her, no matter where she's run.
And your trance comes to an end. Now, you don't see anything in the trance, which is weird. You don't get any visions. It's almost empty. which is in itself a strange melancholy. But she wasn't there. And
Can't
so
really
it's
complain.
something.
Yeah.
And you wake up right around the time that you're finished, knowing that it's your turn.
I'm gonna be right in front of her, staring.
Okay. So you open your eyes and Anu's right there.
Your turn.
Okay, Anu, you hear Tempest scream, but her mouth does not open.
What? What did you do?
And Tempest steps back, grabs her sword, disappears it. She touches it and resummons it, or desummons it, and like stumbles backwards. And she's like, "Why would you do something like that? Seriously, I could have skewered you."
Nah.
I assume everything is well then.
Yep, everyone is in bed, so you should have an uneventful night.
You shouldn't have said that.
You want to knock on wood? It's a tavern.
Knock on wood.
It's a superstition. Whenever you say something might not happen, you knock on wood to keep it from happening.
Like throwing salt.
Yeah.
There we go. Fantastic.
You get to throw the cookies. I'm pretty sure Giselle put plenty of salt in there for you.
Oh, that's not how they're supposed to be.
No.
Oh. You never know. I judge not.
Okay.
Alright, Senita, I'm going to have the Mighty Manny Boss tones stuck in my head all night. It is your fault. I need you to know this.
Wait.
Because you said knock on wood.
Oh yeah, it just hit my head.
So, Tempest.
Takes her turn.
All right.
So does some walking and and
Hold on, I need to look this up.
That I have it yet. That's the impression that I get.
Okay, so you're walking around, and you climb the second step, to the second floor where the balcony is that overlooks the main common room, and you're walking around, and you walk past a pillar, and for like a good 1/10 of a second, you feel a presence behind you, and you swear out of the corner of your eye you see a masquerade, and you turn and there's nothing there. And otherwise, everything is uneventful.
Once again, Tempest laments her her poor vision. Because while she, is all gung-ho about like, let's protect everybody and keep watch, she actually doesn't keep watch well.
Speaking of Anu, you're trancing. So, okay. So Anu, you close your eyes. You open your mind to your memories, and just let yourself fall, almost like falling backwards into a pool of water.
Jacuzzi water.
And right when you hit that splash, you open your eyes, and you find yourself in a town. It's a little more, it's a little less developed than you remember, but this town is in Elridia. And this is obviously a vision of the past, so that's why you don't see as many street lamps and things like that. But you find yourself on this dirt road. It hasn't even been paved with cobblestones yet. Just out in the night breeze. and you feel at peace. It's nice. Whoever this life is, they're tall. They walk quietly, though, much like you do. This is someone who you definitely vibe with, just in how they move through the night. It is night in this vision, and the moon is full here. And you're walking, and it's pleasant, and there's a cool summer breeze. And you start hearing an alarm bell. One of the bells from the village start ringing behind you. And when you turn to see what it is, you see that the hillside has grayed with these animated corpses that are loping over the hillside down toward the village. And just as that terror grips your heart, you open your eyes. And you are in the tavern in the morning. And you smell bacon, you smell ham, you smell the spicy sausage, you hear the sizzling of eggs, and you smell vanilla flapjacks. You come down to see a veritable banquet laid out before you. Giselle has cleaned herself up and is wearing a very nice but simple dress. It is blue with white, and she has her hair pulled back into a nice, neat tail. And who got up first?
Probably me.
Okay, so Giselle has been talking your ear off about everything she knows about dwarves, which mostly consists of stereotypes of dwarves more than anything. And she loves how pretty their gems are, and she wishes she could have gems on her body like a dwarf has gems on their body, because they're just so pretty. And do you realize how pretty it is? And you're so lucky that you get that, because it's so pretty.
Oh, you want to know what's really lucky? And I switched my gems to blue.
She gasps. Is that magic?
It's a gift from a friend of mine. Most dwarves can't do that.
Oh, I was about to ask if every dwarf can do that, but okay.
No, as far as I know, it's just me.
Oh, so you're special?
I mean, I'm trying to use it for good.
You know what every special dwarf needs?
A cookie?
A cookie! And I made cookies yesterday. I'm gonna go see if they're awesome. She runs to the back to get another batch of the terrible cookies.
I will absolutely eat that cookie.
Who gets up second?
Well, Tempest is already up.
Okay, so yeah, Tempest, you've been up. You've been listening to Giselle just talk the ear off. And with when she returns, she has this plate full of cookies, and she offers you one too.
Oh, I take it.
Are you still going to take me to go get my face piercings?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think we're leaving today on a very important mission, and I'm going to have to leave that to your caretakers to do.
Oh, I mean, I figured that was happening, but how am I supposed to get metal all over my face? And then I could put rocks in it, and then I could look like a dwarf. And then she turns.
You could definitely put gems in your piercings, yes.
Tempest takes out one of her piercings and gives it to her.
This is so cool. Jacquard! And you just hear him go, not until you're older.
Keep it until you're older.
I'm older now. I'm like 5 whole seconds older.
She's not wrong.
And who's up next, do y'all think? Anu, Nim, Wisp?
Yeah, I'm already up too.
Okay. So, Anu, you hear Jacquard just shout, in this deadpan, not until you're older, right as you open your eyes. followed by, "Oh, but then I could look pretty and I could look like a dwarf." And he goes, "You're not a dwarf." I mean, I'm not short enough, but like, I definitely can pull off the whole like living underground. I can live underground, and you know the best part about underground is it doesn't like burn down when you set it on fire.
That's true. Underground doesn't burn down when you set it on fire.
So
I
like,
sip my coffee.
I could just like throw my fire wherever I want. It's great.
Oh, no, because we do have some things that are flammable underground, and we're not really living underground anymore, but it was good in theory.
Oh, well, that's sad.
Yes, when you live underground, there's very little air, and the more you burn, the less air there is. It's very dangerous.
Now, that's also
Very
true.
dangerous.
Oh, well, maybe no fire then. But they don't live underground anymore, so I can still do the fire.
I mean, you don't live underground, so you could do the fire anyway.
Yes.
Meanwhile, I gotta go take care of something. I'll meet you guys at the docks.
Okay. Take a cookie.
I do.
And Anu, you, I presume you come down the stairway
Yeah.
as Senta's heading out.
Yep.
Anu, look, I'm going to get face piercings.
Nice.
It's going to be when I'm older, though, but I don't know how much older yet.
Well, what if you had some ones that don't damage your nose for the time being?
I mean, I could definitely do that. How do I...
And I pull out my pocket. It's like, here, a fake one.
Oh, and she will totally put that on, and she'll be like, "Look, I'm like Tempest." And she just starts running around showing other people in the bar that she clearly knows and has some sort of relationship with because they're indulging her. And she tells them that she's going to have a shadow sword next, and it's going to be great. And Nim and Wisp, who do you think comes up, wakes up after?
I think Nim does.
Okay.
I was going to say, Wisp is going to try and get up early, but it's early by Wisp's standards, so Wisp will still probably be the last one up.
Okay. So, Nim, you hear Giselle just shouting about how she's a warrior now, and she's going to have a shadow sword, and she's going to throw fire. It's going to be great. She might turn into a dwarf. There's a lot of themes going on in this headcanon of hers.
All right, so Nim comes downstairs, and the whole time she's just muttering to herself, "Well, I'm very glad she has this energy, and she is herself, and she has a safe place to express her desires and what she wants. But honestly, I'm going to need a cup of coffee first."
And she sees you and goes, "Nim!" And she rockets by shooting fire out of her hands. Jacquard shouts, "Not indoors!" And she sort of like power jumps right up to you and then wraps her arms around your waist.
I hug her back. "Good morning, Giselle."
"Good morning. I got a face piercing." And she leans out and shows you her new nose ring, which is fake.
Nim looks at it like, "Oh, that's great." And then she looks at the adults like,
Jacquard just places a hand on his face and starts pouring more ale.
"Well, let's go down and get some breakfast, and you can tell me all about your new piercing. And I hear you want to be a dwarf now? I don't think
Yes.
that's a career."
I think it could be. You just have to think about what dwarves do best, which is like making weapons and living underground and eating mushrooms and getting drunk. I'm kind of young to get drunk, but I could do it. I bet I could do it.
I bet you could, but I think that, you know,
All she'd have to do is sniff the bottle cap.
I think the dwarves do a lot more than that, and maybe we need to do a little bit more research before we jump in with both feet.
Oh,
maybe...
right. I forgot. They discriminate based on their colors.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we need a trip to the library, perhaps, and, you know, maybe some history books are in order.
I read that one in a history book. like, if they're blue, then they have to fight, and if they're red, then they're supposed to be, like, servants, and she just starts, like, rattling it off with surprising accuracy.
Well, you are not wrong, but I do think there's perhaps a more, polite way to have these conversations.
Oh, wait. Senta doesn't have a color. So that means she's outcast. But she can change her color, so she can do whatever she wants. She gets to be whoever she wants to be.
Yes, and everybody gets to be whoever they want to be within reason. But also, I don't think we should ever judge people for being outcasts. I think that we're all, even if somebody is an outcast, they're still important.
Right. And that means I can be whatever I want, and I'm going to be a dwarf who has elf face piercings.
All right. Well, Giselle, let me get some coffee, and then we'll continue this conversation.
And you get your coffee, and you see Jacquard already has a stein of coffee waiting for you.
Thank you very much, sir.
And he just, like, also takes, like, a percolator and just sets it on the counter.
This is perfect.
And, Wisp, you hear some kind of commotion about being a dwarf with elf face piercings. As sleep just won't claim you anymore.
All right, I'll stretch and head on down.
All right, and you see Giselle is very up and at 'em.
I will head down the stairs, and we'll see if she notices me on my own or if she's too in her own little world.
Wisp! Look, I can dance now! And she does, like, 3 moves that she trips over.
Do I need to catch her from her trip, or does she catch herself?
She actually does this weird somersault thing and tries to make it look like it was on purpose, even though it clearly wasn't.
That is wonderful.
Right?
Now, well, don't rest on your laurels. No matter how good you're getting, you can always practice, because you can always be even more impressive.
Jacquard said that it's all about the landing. He said if you stick the landing, that's what counts.
Sticking the landing is very important. And I'll let you in on a little trick. So the thing about dancing is you can do whatever you want. And as long as you look like it's what you were supposed to do, no one will know if you messed up.
Oh, that's clever. It's sneaky. Anu, I'm going to be sneaky like you.
Yes.
I'm going to be sneaky like you and pretty like Wisp and have all of the stones in my face like Senta and Tempest. It's going to be great. And then Nim is going to be so proud.
Indeed.
And then I'm going to show Masquerade that I can dance. It's going to be great. Where's Masquerade?
I was gonna talk to you about that. We do have to get going after we have breakfast, and we have something very, very important to do. And in fact, it's so important that Masquerade had to go on ahead of us, and we're actually going to be catching up with them. But if there's anything that you want Mask to know, you can tell me, and I will let them know when we get to them.
And she thinks for a good, 5 seconds, fingers on her mouth, tapping her foot the whole 9 yards. And then she says, tell Masquerade I make really good cookies, because I made really good cookies.
I will absolutely tell her that. And I know that you miss us when we're gone, because we miss you too. And I know that we were gone for a long time last time. You remember we still came back though, right?
Yeah, but it was 2 years. That was
I know. And it should not be 2 years again. But if it helps at all, I want you to hold on to this for me. And I'm going to take my lucky coin out of a purse and go like, now this, if you lose this, I'm going to be quite upset, but I'm trusting you to hold on to that. And so that you can, if you ever get lonely, look at it and know I'm coming back for that.
Okay. Do you promise?
I promise. And here, let me show you some. Do you know how to flip a coin?
Yes. And she doesn't do it very well at all. She kind of tosses it in the air.
All right. Like, that's pretty good, but here, try this. And I'm going to like do the whole thing of setting up there under the thumb, giving the thumb a little flick up, and then catching it on the way down. Now, if you're going to practice that, do it in a room that doesn't have a lot of cracks in the floor so you don't lose it. But you practice that and you show me when I get back.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll do it. And then, when I do it, I can practice while I'm making cookies.
Perfect.
And she starts trying to do it, and she's very bad at it.
Someone is going to bite into that coin when they get their cookie.
As long as they give it back to her, that's fine.
So, yeah. Does anyone want to do anything else before you guys get to your boat?
Well, have breakfast, obviously, but that's it.
Okay.
I'm going to tell Giselle, Giselle, I've got a cookie that I'm going to take to Mask. Do you have a message or anything you want me to take along with it?
And she does the whole, like, hand on her mouth, tapping her foot again. I already told Wisp about the cookies. Tell Masquerade I'm going to be the best dwarf elf ever.
Okay, I will, and I'm sure Mask will have no questions.
That's good. You know, I try to still be friends with the kids that went to the scriptorium.
Yeah?
Yeah, I go. And we visit and we play. They get very busy lately.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, now that we're older, people expect us to do things more. And it's not always fun. And sometimes they don't let you just play.
Yeah. That's one of the bad parts about getting older. But when you have all that responsibility, you also get freedom. So if you think about it, when you were younger, you didn't get to do as many things as you get to do now. And you have so many important jobs here, like making cookies and lighting the ovens. And, you know, you are an important part. All the work you do is an important part of what Jacquard does here at the Pumpkin Carriage.
Yeah. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the mages at the scriptorium and the monks, they say that the kids don't have fun when we play. They say they can't understand it, but I think they do somewhere. It just doesn't show.
I think they do too. And you know what? Those monks, they might be pretty smart, but they don't know about kid stuff.
Right. Did you know they don't even know about Chaos Ball?
What's Chaos Ball?
So it's where you have one person, and she starts describing these rules that are very Calvin Ball-esque. It's just wild. And there are passwords, and there's running around some field, and you can't tell if there's a goal or possibly bases or both.
This game sounds like a lot of fun, and I bet you have fun playing it with your friends.
Well, I do, but I always lose. They're very good at it because they're very good at focusing.
Mm-hmm. I am surprised that anybody would be good at this game. It sounds so complicated.
Well, they're very good at focusing in general, apparently. That's what they do. But, you know, I think there's something about focusing on fun, too.
It's important, and I'm glad that they have you to help them with that.
Thanks. You're gonna come back sooner than 2 years, right? Wisp said he was, but I don't know about you.
Absolutely. They'll have to keep me away this time. I'll be back so soon.
Okay. And Wisp also said that Masquerade went ahead for something very important.
Mm-hmm.
And she pauses and kind of like bites her words off, like she doesn't want to say something.
Do you have a question or a concern, maybe?
I think they were lying to me.
Not really. It's the truth. It's not all of it, though, but, you know, because of the nature of our job, we can't tell you everything just yet.
I don't like if Wisp lies to me, though.
It's not a bad lie. It's the truth, but without all the details.
I guess. It doesn't feel good, though.
I know, but Wisp said that because that's what Wisp had to say. If Wisp could tell you the whole truth at first, Wisp definitely would.
You think so?
I know so.
So she didn't lie because she doesn't like me?
No, not at all. She said everything she had to because it has to be a secret for now.
Okay. I can keep a secret for now.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna have to, or else. It's a matter of national security.
That's important. That's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Nim?
Mm-hmm.
I know that I'm little and I need to be taken care of, but I get the feeling that maybe sometimes you big people need to be taken care of too.
You're not wrong. We definitely do.
Can you make sure to take care of Wisp?
Absolutely.
I think they're having a hard time.
You're very perceptive, and I will absolutely keep an eye on Wisp.
I wasn't sure if I was allowed to say it or not.
You can always tell me.
That's what I figured. That's what Mr. Benjamin used to tell me all the time. Mr. Ben used to tell me that he would tell you everything when he was a
did.
kid.
Even things he shouldn't have told me. He ratted himself out so many times.
Yeah. I do that too with Mr. Jacquard. I'm very bad at it.
I think it's a good thing, though.
Okay.
Remember,
Except
you don't
when-
like secrets. Grown-ups don't like them either.
That's true. But sometimes I think he'd get less angry if I kept it a secret. Like when I accidentally burned a hole in the floor.
He would probably be less angry until he found out about it himself, and then he might be even more angry.
Oh, that's not great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, be safe. And she goes around giving each of you guys a hug. And then, do you guys want to make any other preparations before you go to the ship?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to whatever prison they have in this city, and I'm gonna offer everybody that's about to be executed the chance to be conscripted instead.
Oh! Okay, go ahead and make a persuasion check.
That's one way to get a crew.
A crew of desperate individuals.
That's gonna be a flat 10.
Okay,
Look, they all know what this
The
means,
guard?
and it probably means a grislier death than they're about to get, so I don't
Yeah.
expect this to work very well.
the guard, who's guarding all of them, sort of laughs and mocks him and says, "Yes, please, go with the dwarf from the odor of the Jade Lotus and be consumed by green fire."
I mean, you could. That's a possibility. It's possible that that will happen. It's also possible that that you will live, which won't happen if you stay with this jackass.
And you hear a voice from the end of the cell block shout, "Take me."
Okay. Who are you? I turn.
You see standing before you a 7-foot tall Aslari woman with this very dark brown, like almost reddish brown fur, and she is built like a truck.
All right. I'm not even gonna ask her what she did. She's in.
I will go with you because they are about to kill me tomorrow.
Okay.
But you should know my loyalties are bought.
Oh, that's fair enough. I need you for a job.
Asana, and she holds out her clawed hand.
SENITA, and I shake.
So where are we going?
Pretty darn far.
Ah,
I'll explain on the way.
all right. No water, right?
Oh, no, definitely water.
And you see her just bare her teeth and hiss to herself.
Oh, I'm not a huge fan of it either. I sink like a stone, and then I walk.
And so, yeah, you guys will meet at the boat with a large Aslari woman in tow.
Tempest, because people said that that we were going on a boat, Tempest has prepared her mind and remembers what she needs, all about being what you do with a boat and how to use navigator's tools. And so so she's ready as she's going to be.
Okay. So you guys get to the boat. This Mousy Lewin, captain of the vessel, is currently waiting for all of you, and he sees the four of you initially arrive, and he has sort of like this quizzical look, but just decides not to ask any questions, kind of averts his gaze and lets you pass. And then he sees SENITA and the Aslari woman arrive, and you hear a squeak come out of his throat.
Yeah, I brought an extra, but I feel like she's gonna be more help than hindrance.
Do you know that's an Aslari, and they tried to siege the city at one point 2 years ago?
The Order of Ashes doesn't care.
I mean, I understand. And he just, like, stops himself and starts muttering as he just goes aboard the ship. Like, he knows he's not winning this.
I'll tell you something. Whatever went on, it went on. As long as it doesn't happen again, I give absolutely no fucks.
Fair enough. And you guys see this 7-foot tall Leonin-like woman board the vessel. She has very short cropped hair. Like, her fur on top of her head is just like a little bit shaggy around her eyes, but otherwise like very short. She is wearing like almost like a wrap across her chest, and then like a full-on skirt that falls below the knees, and it's like held together and accented with like these belts with these big giant like Texas style buckles.
And I had a crush instantly.
And she crosses her arms, looks over all of you, and says, "I'm Asana. Anyone have a sword?"
Nim just says, "Would you like a cinnamon roll?"
I could kill someone with a cinnamon roll.
Oh, these are for eating.
Oh, I mean, sure. And she'll take it and try it, and like her eyes get real big, like, you know, that
like the
eye
catnip
big,
expression.
Yeah. Where pupils get real small really briefly. And then she just smirks. "I like the cinnamon roll. I won't kill someone with this. That's too good a death for them. So where are we headed exactly?
That is a fantastic question. Where are we headed?
I'll go ahead and name the continent. I won't get more specific than that.
The Ardent Frontier. My people haven't even been there, really. We tried once a few years ago. Tried sieging a castle from the order that I'm now apparently conscripted to. So, this will be fun.
It will be.
And with that, I think we will cut it there.
Okay.
You guys are heading out on your ship, going down the river and into the ocean. We'll see what happens from here. So, thank you everybody who was in the chat and who watched. This was a blast. We appreciate you. And thank you to all the awesome players. You guys make this game. It is so awesome because you guys are such great people. You have such cool characters. I can't even. So until next time, everybody, whether it's on the page or at the table, tell your story your way.